You have spent so long making yourself easy to be around that at some point you stopped knowing where you end and the performance begins. You pre-apologize, you downplay, you laugh off things that actually bothered you. You say, I don't mind when you do. You make yourself agreeable, flexible, low maintenance, and then you feel invisible. And then you feel resentful. And then you feel guilty for feeling resentful because you're the one who agreed to all of it. I want to talk about how we get here, and more importantly, how we get out. This doesn't start as people pleasing, it starts as survival. At some point, probably young, you learned that certain versions of you were more welcome than others. Maybe you were too loud and were told to quiet down. Maybe you had big feelings and were told you were too sensitive. Maybe love in your home felt conditional. It was there when you performed correctly and withdrawn when you didn't. Maybe you just learned slowly by watching that the people who were loved were the ones who caused the least trouble. So you adapted. You got good at reading rooms. You became the person who's easy to have around, the one who never makes things difficult, the one who holds everything together without being asked. And for a while it works. It feels like connection. It feels like being loved. But what it actually is performance. And performances are exhausting because you can never fully rest, because resting means being yourself. It costs you your relationships, or the real ones, because when you're performing, people can't actually love you. They're loving the version of you that you've curated for their comfort. And on some level, you know that. Which is why even in relationships where everything looks fine, there's this undercurrent of loneliness. The loneliness of being with someone who doesn't fully know you, because you've never fully shown them. It costs you your own sense of self. Spend enough years shrinking and you start to genuinely forget what you actually think, actually want, actually believe. And it costs you your energy. Every social interaction is work. Every relationship is maintenance. Because there's always this background hum of, are they happy with me? And that hum is loud even when no one else can hear it. So what actually changes this? It's not a single moment. It's not one realization or one video you watch on a Tuesday. It's a slow, ongoing practice of choosing differently. It starts with noticing. Notice when you're about to apologize for something that doesn't need an apology. Notice when you're about to downplay something that actually mattered. Notice when you say, I don't mind, and you do. You don't have to act differently yet. Just notice. Then it starts with small, low-stakes experiments in being real, not massive confrontations. Just once say what you actually think. Order what you actually want. Say, actually, I do mind, and see what happens. Because most of the time, nothing catastrophic happens. Most of the time, people just adjust. And the few times they don't, that is also important information about what kind of space they actually have for you. And slowly, you start to build evidence that who you actually are, without the performance, is survivable, is even lovable. And that evidence is the foundation that everything else gets built on. The people who are worth keeping in your life do not need you to be easy. They need you to be real. They would rather have the honest, complicated, sometimes a lot version of you than a curated performance they can never quite trust fully. And you deserve to rest. You deserve to stop performing. You deserve relationships where you don't have to manage how you come across, where you can walk in without a prepared version of yourself. That's not too much to want. That's the minimum. And it starts with believing you deserve it before anyone else tells you you do. You're allowed to take up space, the full amount of it, exactly as you are.